go. Oh boy. This was a game. This was a game, boys. Mm. Dink, how's it going, man? You know, this was not our finest showing. You know what I'm saying? um, yeah, definitely not our finest showing. Such a tough game. Yeah, not in a good mood. Not necessarily. No, Chris didn't close the game, but whatever. You know, question marks, question marks, question marks. That said, Chris Dunn did play one of his higher minute games. We suck on the road, totally different team on the road. Even so, I'm still willing to say we're better than we were in the past on the road because before we were just god awful. This was a game where we should have won. This is a game we should have won, and we found a way to lose it. Multiple ways. Credit to the Houston Rockets for playing pretty solid on their home floor, right? Jabari Smith, 9 of 19, 4 of 8 from 3, 10 boards, right? Segun, 15 of 26, hit the 1-3 he took, 6 of 10 from the free throw line, 14 boards, right? Those are two big time performances. Cam Whitmore off the bench in 27 minutes, 6 of 13, 4 of 6 from 3-point range. Fred VanVleet was really the only guy that we forced have a bad game. I mean, Jalen Green had a bad game too. He was 3 of 12, 6 from 3. But Fred VanVleet really that 8 of 19. But at the same time, Colin Sexton and Jordan Clarkson didn't have great shooting nights themselves. Jordan Clarkson was obviously more stomachable actually than Colin Sexton's was, and Larry Markkinen didn't have a great night either. So recipe for not great, basically. Let me see something. I'm not gonna lie, guys. There was some ugly things. There was a lot of ugly things. Wow. From Ochai having the most massive negative box score plus minus to Keontae George also being a negative 13. Something that's really interesting with this one is Kelly Olynyk -8, Ochai -15, Keontae -13, Clarkson -7, Walker -7, Chris Dunn +17. Was he in the closing lineup? Well, I'll let you answer that question yourself. Colin Sexton +12, John Collins +6, Lowry +8, and Fontecchio +2. Our bench was the biggest negative today. It's actually impressive that Colin Sexton somehow managed to shoot 11 of 27, right, which is his season high in field goals, and actually not his lowest field goal percentage, but he was 2 of 7 from 3, so not great from 3-point range, right? But even if you take those out, he was 9 of 20 from the field or from inside the arc, which isn't terrible. He was 4 of 4 from the free throw line, right? 3 boards, 5 assists, 2 steals, 2 turnovers, but he had 4 personal fouls. But admittedly, he played 40 minutes. Even with all that, he was a box score plus minus of a +12, which is impressive. Chris Dunn in 27 minutes was 4 of 6 from the field, hit 1 of his 2 threes, hit 1 of his 2 free throws, had 8 rebounds, 7 assists, a steal, and only 2 personal fouls. So really, he was one of those guys where it was just something should have came of that, and we didn't get the job done like we needed to. But at the same time, credit to the Houston Rockets because they have been a scrappy team as of late. They haven't been a pushover to anybody, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we just made them 500. I think they were 21 and 22. But one great coping mechanism, cake. Chocolate cake specifically. Can't go wrong with coping food. Copium is great. But let me go ahead and get into y'all comments. Rashad, you said, I don't know why Chris didn't close out the game, but whatever. Shoulder shrug. Sexton getting every whistle. Low key, he was getting his calls. He was the home team, so it was expected that they would be favored in some way. This definitely is a game we should have won, but even in our losses, we are competing. This team is getting better, and we will bounce back. Yeah, trade Olynyk immediately. Olynyk's making it tough right now. Low key, he's making it very tough. The level of foul prone that he is actually like, it was bad before, but it was like he was doing enough positives to where you were like, oh, we can kind of live with this. But lately, he's had so many fouls. I need to see how many fouls he's averaging a game actually, because he hasn't played that many games over 20 minutes recently. But it always seems like he has 4-ish, 5-ish fouls, which is concerning. Because that means either A, you can't play defense, or B, you keep getting caught out of position, both of which aren't ideal. But when you're in a situation where everybody else, when you are the offensive passing hub in that second unit, you can get away with having slightly poor defense as long as everybody else is playing well. But if everybody else isn't shooting great, well, your effectiveness is diminished on offense. Therefore, we cannot afford to play you because of your defense ineptitude. Indebtedness, excuse me. Can't box out, can't defend, just bad. It was rough today. Lowry didn't shoot well. Nah, he didn't have a great shooting night either. Him and Sexton both combined for 5 of 18 from 3. An anomaly, right? Even with it, we were still in this game. This was a game we should have won. We were up during those last 25 seconds of regulation, and then obviously they tied it, went into OT, outscored us by 1. Not ideal. Was it me, or were they way physical and got away with a lot of crap? A little bit. I did actually see a little bit of what you were referring to. That said, I expected a little bit of them. I expected them to let us get scrappy, because when you think of the Rockets and you think of the Jazz, neither of them are like bona fide, phenomenal, teams that everybody wants to watch. So they're gonna let the boys play for whichever team's at home. More likely is gonna get away with some stuff, which happened to be the Houston Rockets today. Tough loss, yeah, Flair. Makes no sense for Lowry not to get the last shot. It's a whole lot going on. They gotta live with lots of Sexton's getting fouled every time and they can call it. Yeah, this is one of those things where it's like, I've fully accepted that every time Sexton goes through him, even if he makes the right play because he knows he's going to get fouled, he's not always going to get the call. But this was one of those games where it irked me a little bit, because he made the right play, he got fouled, and the whistle didn't blow. And it's like, okay, we're letting the boys play, but at which point do you say, okay, he's been fouled 4 or 5 times, we got to call one of them, right? I'm not saying call everyone, right? Let the boys play, right? There's going to be some turnovers. There's going to be some bad plays. If you want to anticipate a foul, I'm not always going to give it to you. Fair. But that's a little bit excessive. I think we can all agree. Just a little bit. He said, kind of losing patience with Ochai's shooting. He's got in there, and I know he does. It just can't fall. It's rough. It's rough. And the thing was, Ochai is one of those guys where he shoots so sparingly, you don't know what to think. Because I can't tell you the last game where he shot 5 field goal attempts. Today he shot once, and he missed the 1 3 he took. And mind you, in 13 minutes, he had 3 blocks and 1 turnover. Box score plus minus of a -15. Really insane stat line, but when you take into account the fact that he is a defensive wing, it makes it a little bit easier to stomach, but it's rough. It's very rough. And then today, Keontae actually played what I recall as being his lowest minute since he came back from that ankle injury, 9:45. 1 of 3 from the field, 1 of 2 from the from the 3-point line, 2 boards. 1 board, 2 assists, 3 turnovers. Yanked it from the game. Box score plus minus of a -13. So there was that. He said Chris should have closed out the game and was the reason the Jazz got back in the game. Yeah. What's up, James? Cam, you said, bro, just wanted to check in and tell you I see the lights reflect off your forehead. You finna get dogs. Man, look. That game hurt my heart. Yeah. I was down to the wire the entire time. I was gritting my teeth. Best defensive player shouldn't be sitting on the bench in overtime. Yeah, best table setter shouldn't be on, point of attack defender, all that. Yeah. Kessler needs to get in the weight room, dog. Low key. By low key, I mean high key. He actually played a high in minutes today, believe it or not. Since he got moved to the bench, this is the most minutes he's seen the court. Played 32 minutes. Obviously fouled out, but I didn't hate it, right? 2 of 4 from the field, 3 of 6 from the free throw line. He has to become a better free throw shooter, dog. I'm not going to lie. That is the biggest thing for Walker Kessler. I know I said I liked his three-point motion and I want him to shoot 1 to 2 a game. I need him to make these free throws, right? Because usually he attempts 1 or 2 a game, right? So that's a small sample size as a center where you don't get that many shooting touches. It's reasonable that he would go 1 or 2 from the free throw line. But if you have 6 attempts, brother, I need 4. I absolutely need 4. I need 4 out of 6. 3 out of 6 is not good. 3 of his 10 rebounds were offensive. He had 3 assists, and he did have 5 blocks, right? Also had 3 turnovers though, which is pretty high for him, all things considered. We said Olynyk cannot rebound. No, he was not getting boards today. Why is Lowry getting so little touches recently in close games? It's weird because at times it seems like it's not schemed for Lowry, and other times it looks like Lowry is too easily removed from a play, which is also a concern that I had the other game when we just recently lost, because there was a few possessions where there was it was like 2 or 3 inbounds plays, sidelines out of bounds, where Lowry had an action to get the ball, but it just didn't seem like he was decisive in going for it. And then he was so easily removed by the next person that came to cut by his defender effectively. I'm not saying it's entirely his fault, right? Because part of it's scheme, right? So that goes down to coaching. But as well, if you're the star of the team, I'm under the impression that because he doesn't have a massive ego, he's allowing himself to defer to the likes of other players on the court that want the shot more than him, which I don't have an issue with when they hit the shot. It becomes an issue when they are not hitting their shots and they still want to shoot that ball, i.e. Jordan Clarkson has a big problem with that. But Jordan Clarkson has improved his game enough off of the bench and been put in a situation to succeed more to the point where it's stomachable. Sexton and Clarkson might have did what they did at the end, but they kept us in the game, and I felt like a foul Sexton should have called. Yeah. Maybe Hooper's that sucks. Yeah, that hurts. Yeah. Payne, you and me both say. Both Kelly can't box out our defense. Sexton missing those easy bunnies he makes hurt. But man, it seemed like he was getting fouled and they called nothing. Yeah, held it bound back. Yeah. Got to give Hardy credit for showing trust in him even. Yeah, it's about time. I still think Chris Dunn should have seen the court a lot more because he played, like, for Chris Dunn to play really the most minutes we've seen him play in a minute. He played 27 minutes. He only had 2 personal fouls. He had his best offensive game, arguably. Really his best game so far this season. 10 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 steal. No turnovers, right? To me, I understand you want to run your 2-guard lineup of Clarkson and Sexton to close the game out, but when Chris Dunn was doing that well over the course of the game, to me, I have to play him because I can't get this Chris Dunn every night, right? Chris Dunn isn't viable to sit there and give you 8 boards and 7 assists every night. 7 assists, maybe. 8 boards, probably not. And then he gave you no turnovers to boot, and he shot more than 2 or 3 field goals. He shot 6, right? So he was on one tonight by his standards. So I feel like we kind of wasted that performance from him a little bit. But tomato, as they say. I feel like Ainge finna do a weird trade. It's possible. Like his boxing out tonight was a joke. Yeah, should Keontae get more minutes in the G League? I don't know. That's a good question, Slumdog. I'm not sure about the Keontae situation just yet because I think it's important for him to get these minutes. And if we move him to the G League, it's going to be too easy for him. And I want him to go through the struggling portion of the season. Dunn was a plus 17. Yup. I feel like Kessler needs to be more aggressive. Yes. Yeah, he does. Taylor Hendricks should be getting minutes. In a situation like this, it's hard pressed to to give me a good reason why Taylor Hendricks doesn't play. Right now, John Collins had a box score plus minus, but +6, right? And it seems like we plan on not, we don't feel the most urgency to trade him. That said, right, we can't have a game against the Rockets and you shoot 3 of 9 from the field, 0 of 4 from 3, right? That's not a good look. He had 6 boards, 2 assists. He didn't have any turnovers, though, and only 2 personal fouls, 7 points. So not the worst, but we need those 4 threes back, especially if Taylor Hendricks is the guy sitting on the bench, right? Because I have you in the game for offense and you're a shooting touch because you have it. Walker Kessler sits on the bench because he can't shoot like you can. So I need you to prove me right every game. In the games that he doesn't, it kind of makes people lean. Like if we lose those games, like we lost today, it makes people lean closer to like, hey, we gotta pack him up. There's a rookie that really could use 20 minutes. If we give Taylor Hendricks 20 minutes, you give him the same responsibilities we just gave John Collins. I'm not going to say he outperforms John Collins, but I'm also saying he doesn't not outperform John Collins. That said, I understand the system that we have right now. It was working for a long period of time, so they hesitate to change it. We are on the road trip. It's going to be tough. We really needed this one. This was one of those games where you go back in time and you kick yourself in the butt in the rear end because you really wanted it. And it's like, I'd rather lose to the Bucks on the road or Boston on the road or Cleveland on the road than lose to the Rockets on the road, right? That is one of those kind of things. Also what's good. Love your stuff. Yeah. Appreciate you, Slumdog. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's good? I do think they had a tough time dealing with the Rockets defense. Yes. Time to trade Kelly. It's getting kind of close. Kessler's defense on second was really good, but the rest of yeah, the rest felt very differently. Trying to create another Jokic or something. I don't know. Maybe that's a little out of pocket to say. You said he will once we trade John. Yeah. Clarkson should have made that shot. He was wide open in game one. He hit the shot with Kawhi first game. Yeah. Just can't buy them all, I guess. Jazz need John Collins. That's an interesting take. Dylan Brooks was really on Larry. Sexton fouled Sexton too many times. Yeah, you know they're not going to call it on him because that's just the character that he is. I want Clarkson off the team so that Abaji and Keontae can touch the ball more. The thing about Clarkson is the sense of community and the icon that he is for the Jazz. That's something that I understood it before, but like over the past 20-ish games, I really understood it. And it's actually impressive, but also problematic in a way. Let's play from Clarkson. He probably should have gave it to Sexton right there. Definitely arguable. Mm-hmm. George should be in the G League. His minutes hurt rather than help at this time. The biggest thing with Keontae George is he's been a little bit more efficient as of late, but he's not showing the turnaround that like Jordan Clarkson had. Remember, Jordan Clarkson was shooting 30% from the field and 29% from three. And now I believe he's closer to like 44-ish%. Don't kill me on that. But overall, like his splits after getting moved to the bench have drastically improved. That's the point. Whereas Keontae off the bench more recently, like post-injury, his efficiency has gone up, but it's like hovering around 40% from the field and 34% from three, which isn't great. Combine that with at times horrendous defense, and you have a very problematic situation. And you want to give him the minutes because that's the guy where you're in your head, you're saying that's supposed to be our future guy. So he needs to know what it's like now. So when the time comes for him to take the reins, he's ready. Completely understandable. But we're going to reach a point where like his efficiency is too damaging because I need one or the other, right? Chris Dunn doesn't take a lot of shots, but he's a lockdown on defense. He's a playmaker and a table setter like no other, right? So those are two things. He brings a little bit to offense, but a heck of a lot to defense. So you know what you're getting out of that. With Keontae, it's like, okay, he might have an efficient night tonight, but we're probably not going to get great defense out of him. We're going to get maybe slight negative. On a good day, we're getting slight negative defense out of Keontae, and we'll get a good, solid shooting night from three. And we're just not getting that recently. Or not recently, but today was just one of those games where things didn't pan out his way. And because of that, they sat him on the bench, rightfully so, right? The best thing you can do when somebody's having a bad night is recognize it early, recognize if they are or are not going to get out of this shooting slump, and bench them if they're not. That is the biggest difference between the team now and the team before. We had Jordan Clarkson and Keontae George starting. Both of them shot terrible, and people wanted to pin it only on Jordan Clarkson. Keontae was shooting like absolute hot dog water back then as well, in larger numbers. But because Jordan Clarkson was the veteran and he was the guy that everybody was comfortable blaming things on, he took the fall for it a lot of the time. Well, now we're in a situation where we just have to call a spade off the bench. Here nor there. I'd be able to trade him as of right now. He's taking Hendricks minutes. Yeah, he is. Call the Knicks, get JC out of here. Trade KO for a pick. Send THT back in. 2 in unit. Key, Ochai, Bryce, Taylor, and Walker. Ball hogs are killing him. I actually don't hate that bench. Keontae, Ochai, Bryce, Taylor. If Bryce is who I think Bryce could potentially be like right now, I actually don't hate that. Because I trust Taylor right now over Ochai. Because Taylor, without touching the ball in offense, shoots the ball better than Ochai so far, from what I've seen. From what I've seen this year. Keontae. In Ochai, Taylor, and Walker Kessler on the court at the same time is some insane defense. That's insane. But Bryce and Keontae have to be able to score. Walker Kessler will have to be explosive on offense. Taylor's going to have to hit his shots, and Ochai's going to have to provide something. Like, whether it be fast breaks off steals, cool. We're going to need something out of him as well. But I actually don't hate that comment. I actually kind of fancy that. Fontecchio's taking Hendricks minutes. I really wouldn't say Fontecchio is, because he plays a different role. I really wouldn't say that. I would say it is definitely more so Collins. Because Hendricks isn't a face-up game type of guy. And that was the biggest reason why we didn't play him at the beginning of the season, because he didn't have that in his bag. And him being in the G League was supposed to improve that aspect of his game, because we knew he could shoot and play great defense. We were like, okay, you scored back to basket in college. We need you to score like mano y mano, face-to-face, hand-to-hand, not back to front. That was the biggest thing. I don't know how you bench out. Who you bench out of Sexton and Clarkson, but Dunn should have been in there at the end. Yeah, that was what I was saying, Chris. Yeah. As much as I love Colin, because they weren't giving him his foul calls, and because overall Jordan Clarkson shot better from the field than him. Granted, he hit 2 more threes while shooting 3 more, and overall took 2 less field goals and hit 1 more. So it's not that much of a difference. But he also had 12 rebounds. Yeah, I guess so. He also had 12 rebounds. He did have, I don't know. Who do you sit in that situation? Colin had the higher box score plus minus, so I might go Colin. Because Jordan Clarkson did have 3 turnovers. Colin had 2 assists. 5 assists, 2 steals. Clarkson had 4 assists, no steals, but Clarkson had 12 boards. Sexton had 3. All of Sexton's were offensive, ironically enough, just a hustle demon. They both hit all of their free throws. Jordan Clarkson shot better from 3, so you might go Clarkson just because of – that's a tough one. But Chris Dunn, you're right. Chris Dunn did have to see the floor, and he didn't. This loss put to hate in my heart. Clarkson is putting a dribble clinics during the 4th quarter. Low-key, yeah. How many touches did Lowry have in the 4th quarter at the end of OT? We could run back the tape and see, and I think I could count on 2 hands, just touching the ball, not even shooting it, just touching the ball. That should have been in for Simone. You could definitely make that case, actually. You can definitely make that case, actually, Colin. Incognito. Kessler's been hesitant in a lot of games. The rest were a little soft. Yeah. He does need to be aggressive. I'm done. Thank you. You all are great. You're good, Colin. What's up, Dallin? You said, do you think they could beat the Pelicans? I want to beat the Pelicans. I think we should. We beat them back-to-back before. We dropped the 3rd game against them, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure we dropped the 3rd one. I think we win this one. I feel we should win this one, right? But I also felt we should win the Rockets one. A couple things went wrong in the Rockets one, and that's why we lost. I like to think that we're going to right our wrongs and get the job done. Yeah, man. What he said, hit that like button. Yeah. I don't get mad when JC shoots it in the flame. Lowry gotta have plays drawn. The thing is, there's okay. I'm gonna get into their offensive sets and everything in a minute because I'm actually very impressed with part of the turnaround because I actually had to watch somebody else's video because I don't really watch too many game rewinds and pick apart plays. And I feel like I should. I think that would be a good video to actually do. But one guy did it and I was really impressed. Teams are also guarding Lowry tightly, so it's difficult for him to get the ball. Because he can't handle the ball. It's difficult to get him the ball each and every play when the defense starts. Yeah. And that's when you rely on Colin Sexton and Jordan Clarkson to be those two guys that really put in a scoring punch, and then you need a couple other pieces to hit their shots. Unfortunately, it just didn't pan out that way for us. Is Keontae benched or no? No, he's not benched. He's just his minutes have been reduced because sometimes his inefficiency and his lack of defense is ultimately the part that makes it difficult to play him in situations. Jeff, yeah, this was tough. He's just playing really bad tonight. He got benched, yeah. Chris should have stayed. As much as Sexton improved his playmaking, you need the reliability in a clutch, yeah. Must be an off night for him, yeah. Do you think we're gonna make any moves at the deadline? If we play like this the entire road stint, I think there will be a trade. Before, when we went, was it 15-4 over the 19 game span, I was prepared to just ride out the season with these guys. That's what I was willing to do. And whether you keep Kelly Olynyk, whether you re-sign him for less money, whatever the case may be, I just thought we were gonna ride it out. That said, if they continue to play like this over the entire road trip, you have to. I feel like you have to because they're showing you, yeah, we can be great at home, but we absolutely cannot be great on the road. So this is our ceiling. Basically 500. Half your game. When you play at home, we're going to play really good. We won't win all of them, but we'll win a heck of a lot of them. On the road, we're probably going to lose every close game. If that's what this road trip turns into, losing close games and getting blown out, scratch it. We have to make a move. That will force Danny Ainge's hand. The Cavs being on a win streak. Hey, they've earned every one of them, and they're getting the job done. Yeah, the Cavs have been locked in. Can the Jazz make the playoffs? I still expect them to. Thing is, if not for JC and Collins, we couldn't get back in the game. We lost because we can't get those defensive rebounds. That's it. A little bit. With all the noise between the Knicks wanting a veteran guard and the Jazz interest in Grimes, something's got to give. Fair play. We got to blow out the Pels after this. We have to win against the Pelicans handedly. What's up, Zach? Had to watch a football game. Nah, you're good, bro. 17 of the 20 field goals were taken by JC and Colin. Really? 5 out of 9 in OT isn't crazy. 17 out of 20 is crazy in the fourth. 17 out of 20 is crazy. Do they have a split of how many apiece? Was it like 8? Was it 8 and 9 split? Or was it like 10 and 7? Let me know. Niners, man. My opinion, Clarkson should have tried to draw a foul in that situation. I understand he normally makes that shot, but down one final possession, get fouled, my dude. Yeah. Kicker also for Green Bay, let's be honest. I feel like the Jazz need to find a number one option superstar. Is Shea and Luka level? That's one of those things, man. Lee, there you are. Hey, bro, I wanted to stop and say thanks for the collab. This game made me sick to my stomach. So what that being said, I'm going to go fetal for the next week. Have a good night, boys. Take care of yourself, please, Lee. Pretty bad. Hey, Cam Newton's takes have held up. Everybody he said was a game manager has played like a game manager since he said it. Simple. He said, you go fetal, I'll go feral. Why does Clarkson have 12 rebounds? He got the highest rebounds of the team with the F. Yeah, right position, right time. Most of them were also defensive rebounds. 2 of them were offensive. So I wouldn't give it too much crazy thought thought process, but 12 is still really good, right? Double, 33 and 12. I'll take it. And 48% shooting from the field. 25 attempts, kind of crazy, but 48%, right? Right. Respectably so. Out of everybody that shot double figure shot attempts, he got his. He said, "How do you find that guy? Is the thing I don't know." Yeah, fair. During these games, I go fetal. Some go feral. I go fetal. Fetal doesn't involve jail time. True. Fair play. Just got to get lucky in the draft. Sounds good. Oh, bro, fetal sounds more criminal. John Collins is solid, but is it possible to trade him for a stretch 5? I don't know. I low-key think Taylor Hendricks has the ability to do what John Collins does. At very least on offense at a similar rate, right? If we're looking for a guy to give us a maximum of 18 points, or excuse me, a maximum of 14 points, 6 to 8-ish rebounds, I definitely think the rookie can do it. Plus, he has more defensive upside, but it's just a thought. Just a thought. Can the Jazz make the playoffs? I still say yeah. Yeah. Bryce can't play D in the G League. There's no way he'll play the B League that soon. That is one big gripe with his game. He's become a better playmaker, and his shot selection has gotten better, but that defense has not. Not in a quarter. Jazz almost beat MJ's Bulls when it changed. You gotta figure out somebody doing a bit. Take Sexton out. He gotten hurt. I can go fetal on someone, or in this case, a team, but I'm fine legally. Was good, cool, slick. That boy Chase hopping off. Good night, Lee. Last thing, I'm feeling chocolate cake vibe, by the way. I think we should be using Collins as a small forward. Use Fontecchio as a solid bench piece. The thing is, Fontecchio earns better minutes because even when he doesn't have a good shooting night, he plays significantly better defense than John Collins. That's the bigger issue. And like for this game, he actually shot pretty decent from the field. He was 4 of 7. He was 2 of 5 from 3. He had 7 rebounds, 2 of them being offensive. He had 3 assists. He had 1 turnover and only 2 personal fouls in 29 and a half minutes, 10 points. Now, it didn't show great because obviously his box score plus minus was only a +2. But by all standards, that stat line is it's effective. Those numbers are effective. Unfortunately, water fasting sucks, so I can't eat like ever. Ooh, that'll do it. Where am I? Who do you think they will trade if they keep losing on the road? If you keep losing on the road, and let's say everybody plays the exact same way they played today, you almost have to find a way to trade Collins. Or you might have to just sit him on the bench and see if Taylor Hendricks is a move, is an opportunity. If Kelly Olynyk continues to play this way, you might have to see what the market is for Kelly Olynyk, right? If they continue to lose close games and then, like, say you get blown out the rest of them, it might be rough. But yeah, the biggest guys on the chopping block are going to be Collins. Even today, Clarkson wasn't terrible, right? He played pretty good offensively. Defensively, he left a little bit to be desired, hence why his overall box score plus minus still ended up being a -7, despite shooting 48% from the field, having 12 rebounds, and having a team high 33 points, right? Because his defense wasn't on par with what it should have been. That said, John Collins and Kelly Olynyk are the biggest guys on the chopping block, besides obviously Taylor Horton Tucker. He said, we should keep Kelly Olynyk just because he's smart, vacuum mentor the young guys. Hardy can't find a way to utilize THT. He's been a month. I think the idea is that they're going to trade THT. I thought he would have already been traded because it's been about a good 8 or 9 games since they sat him on the bench, but it's weird. Jazz are losing every game now. Time to it's only been 2, and really this is the one that they should have won. So I think that's the bigger. I'm not ready to press the panic button yet because I'm gonna explain what the last 1.5 minutes was. 90 seconds was what it was. Yeah, it was bad. THC could see the floor back at Delta Center with a different uniform on. John Collins missing wide open threes cost us the last 2 games. It's rough. It's very rough. I swear he's like one of his last 8. I'm pretty sure he is actually. I'm actually almost 100% sure he is. Colin had 8 field goal attempts in the 4th. JC 9. Lowry had 2. Interesting. Well, at the end of the game, we found out that Jordan Clarkson taking 9 was relatively justified, and Colin shooting 8 was unjustified because he shot 40% from the field. Apparently, we're talking about a potential trade that would send Clarkson to the Knicks for Grimes. That'll be interesting. I'd say look for trading for a defensive forward. We have one, though. It's just about... The weird thing about the new CBA deal is the fact that you have to, whatever you're trading out money-wise, you also have to get back money-wise. So you can't just ship somebody out for draft picks anymore. You have to take somebody with money back on your roster, which makes things slightly problematic because you have guys like THT where you don't necessarily have an ideal hole that trading him can fill. So do you just get a redundant piece again? Probably not. Okay, we'll trade him for draft capital. Oh, wait, we can't because, well, you have to take the same money back that he's earning, which is slightly problematic, in my opinion, of course. Go ahead. This message retracted. Walker shooting 49% at the line has to become a problem because for him, something that would make him near all-star level player, if not a very valuable role player. Yeah. Yep. In the 4th and OT, Lowry had 4. Yeah, that's not okay. Great. They were playing great defense on him. I will say that. But to me, he's got to get between 6 and 8 at least. 6 and 8. I'm not saying he has to take, half of the shots because there's a reason why he's the all-star of the team and why people game plan for Lowry and not Jordan Clarkson and not for Colin Sexton. Because Lowry has a more predictable game to work on and to lock down. But at the same time, you still have to find a way to scheme your best players open and give them the opportunity to make great plays. He said they're playing good defense on Lowry and Clarkson and Sexton. We're getting it done. I don't see the problem. Take what the defense gives you. That is true. You do have to take what the defense gives you. Lowry's problem is he doesn't demand the ball enough. Yeah. His egolessness at times, this is the peak of it. Like a lot of people get situations with basketball and they'll say, oh, this player can do this or this team can do this and therefore they will win all of their games. That's not how it works. You pick a style of basketball and it will win you either most of your games or few of your games. Whatever the case may be, you just have to be willing to stick with that philosophy. The great thing about Lowry's game is it fits well next to ball-dominant guards. The issue is if your ball-dominant guards aren't playing well, it limits the upside of your team. In a Lowry situation, that means he's also on a night where somebody's not locking him down or a night where his other teammates are also getting really involved. He's having an easier time scoring the ball, and he's going to shoot very well. But on the night where he's getting guarded very tightly, it's harder for him to get good shots off and get quality shots off because he's so predictable at times. But I don't think that it's going to be a long-term issue, right? This was one game where one team played really well. Realistically, we didn't even play terrible. We shot 45% from the field. Threes, we shot a little bit bad. We were at 30%, 13 of 43. And free throws, really, it was the 3 that Walker Kessler missed that really hit us. We were 17 of 22 for 77%. Looking at the Houston Rockets, they shot lower from the field than us. They shot 42.7%. They also hit 13 threes, but they shot only 39. Right? They're 14 of 22 from the free throw line. So by all metrics, we shot better from the field, and we played a much better second half than they did. The issue was the first half we got behind, right? And then in fourth quarter and overtime, we just didn't get the perfect shot selections that we probably should have to get things to go our way. Before they got Siakam, the Pacers tried to get Markkanen. Yeah, it's a good thing we didn't give it to him. Hardy have done differently to get us a W? Probably I would say Chris Dunn on the floor. For which guard you pull, take your pick, but gamble with Chris Dunn and use his game today. Because with Chris Dunn on the floor, you're also more likely to get a shot from Larry Markkinen, right? Because he's more likely to table set for Larry specifically and find a way to scheme him the ball. Especially if his own shot is falling, which it was today. Hardy's amazing. Only complaint I have is calling time out there 6 seconds left instead of with 8 seconds left. Fair play. 39 free throw attempts from Houston compared to 20 for Utah. Makes winning the game tough. Yeah, but we also didn't hit all our free throws like we needed to. Wait, no, it was 22 apiece. Common, it was 22 free throws. It says it was 22 free throws apiece. Yeah, they were 14 of 22, and we were 17 of 22. She make a podcast. I would make a basketball podcast, but I don't really have anybody to like really talk to about it all the time. Segun was getting too deep in the paint with the ball. That's our fault. Yes, the penetration did need to stop, and we couldn't stop it. When are all the All-Stars decided? I'm actually not 100% sure off the top of my head, Cohen. I'm not gonna lie. It has to be soon though, because they had the last day where like your vote counts for 3 times as much. I didn't realize that was a thing. Also partially because I never vote for All-Star. I just watch to see who other people vote for. I really think that players should vote who All-Stars are, not fans. But, you know, whatever case it may be. In fact, he was also getting way too many offensive rebounds in the first half. Yeah. Don't drink and text. Free throw data. Volunteer to talk about basketball on the podcast. There he is. Should have doubled Segun in the paint. We had to figure something out. 10 free throws. 10 free throws. The thing is, I don't hate that. I just hate the fact that he shot 15 to 26 from the field. 6 of 10 from the free throws. He can't shoot free throws like that. But 15 to 26 from the field is crazy. Right? That's kind of wild. And that's too many field goal attempts for him. He only shot 1 3, so you know where most of his shots came from. Just wondering what's the goal for this season while being in a rebuild. I would say one of the big keys for the Utah Jazz, if they can convey their pick from this draft by not being a bottom 10 team, they should do it. I think that's the objective right now, because you stand to lose more by losing a later pick, because that pick will be worth more, considering just the strength of the overall drafts. This year's draft has been, by all scouting reports accounts, very weak, like one of the weakest we've seen in recent history. Now, we've seen some kind of weak drafts before. We've seen some drafts where they had like 2 to 5 really good players, and then everybody was just like, eh. Apparently, this upcoming year's draft is supposed to be like mud, like not like the dudes are not cut like that. So I'd much rather give. By the way, we're helping out the Thunder when we give the pick. By the way, so I'd rather give the Thunder a weak pick now than a good pick later. I'm not. I don't want to help the Thunder out any more than we already have, because playing them is going to be hell for the next 5 to 7 years that we have to when we're in the playoffs. How many games do you think we need to win to still be a top 10 after the road trip? Ideally we go 4-2. Or if we split these games down the middle, I'm gonna have to live with the result. I don't want to, but we're already down 1, right? So yeah. How many games do you think we need to Utah struggles against ball dominant bigs? Yes. With the exception of Jokic, weirdly enough, because we had Jokic handled, interestingly so. Shut down Anthony Davis just last week. That's another good one. Is it to try to keep up with the Thunder or something else? Oh, I just realized that was part of the other question. AD, I wouldn't even say AD shuts himself down, but Lowry had that man. Lowry really said, "I'm the best big on the floor, and I'm about to tell you, if I could get that version of Lowry defensively every night, you know how much of how much of a fucking terror he would be." That man had AD so scared to drive. AD shot like 7 mid-range pull-ups. for why? Why Anthony? Not AD. Why Anthony? I don't know what his middle name is, but why Anthony Jerome Davis? I don't know. Like Lowry really had that man in prison. He was giving that man a fit. He still put up a weak triple double, because that was all he could do. He did affect the game in other ways, and that's why they were able to be like in there. But he had that man struggling so much so that like even on uncontested shots, like at the rim, he was missing. And it's like, how much somebody has to be in your head, or how much you have to be just dealing with the psychological aspect of the game to feel like an open one is still difficult. That's the kind of prison he had him in. And yeah. Bro, how do we have 17 turnovers versus their 7? That's also an issue. That is also an issue. Good catch. Good catch. Can't win a game with 17 turnovers. Even if we have 13, we win this one. That's another thing. No way Lowry shut him down, forced him into the long range jumper shot. 80 missed shots he normally makes instead of triple-double. The thing is, he had a terrible triple-double, though. Like, when you think of a triple-double, you think of roughly 45% shooting from the field, and then obviously your other stat parts, whether it be assists and rebounds, whatever the case may be. In that game, he shot terrible from the field. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he shot under 35%, if memory serves me right. Because I think he took 21 field goal attempts, and I want to say he hit 6. I think he was 6 for 21 at the end of that game. Now, all of his shots weren't contested. A lot of them he settled, and that was the biggest win for Lowry. Once he got Anthony Davis to be willing to settle for mid-range jumpers, even though he does shoot decently from mid-range, he doesn't shoot great from mid-range. A lot of people think he shoots really, really good. He doesn't shoot really, really good. He shoots moderate. He shoots solidly, right? Like, that's a reliable shot for him. That's a viable shot for him. But it's not a terrific shot for him. It's not nearly as good as like him dunking, obviously, or him getting a hook shot, obviously. And the issue was, well, he got forced to do enough mid-range pull-ups to the point where he was not hitting any of them. And so he was bailing us out by doing that. So at that point, he had to play make. He had to do other things of the game. And lucky for them, D'Angelo Russell also played better that game to keep them in it. Convey the pick for sure. Keep the salary cap money, reinvest it in cap, and hold OKC. Pull him further into a bond with the new CBA. New CBA is brutal. Yes. I don't love the new CBA. I understand the need for it. I just don't love it. Anthony Marshawn Davis Jr.? He's a junior? That's crazy. Lowry is 80s confirmed. 80s father confirmed. Yes, we absolutely want to convey this year's pick draft pick to OKC. I would cry if our pick is going to be like 12 or 13. Then we win the lottery. I would actually cry myself to sleep. Like, all jokes aside, I would cry myself to sleep if that happened. It does feel a little premature to say outright that this draft is terrible. People are comparing this draft to the 2013 draft that had Giannis. I think there's some sleepers in this draft. There definitely could be, but there's less, there's less surefire ones. That's a big thing. There's a very short list of people where they're like, this guy is definitely, once he makes the league, going to be have a similar game and similar career to player B. Like, there's not a lot of people in here. Now, there's going to be a couple of people that are going to be interesting, but at the same time, I feel more comfortable with that than giving them a pick with a lot of people that have a lot better data and just a longer list of people with better data where people are like, oh, this person, and like a whole laundry list. These people can all convert over to the NBA at a pretty high level and do A, B, and C. I'd much rather have them guessing. If they pick a really good pick and it ends up being a sleeper and they just are super effective, so be it. we made the best statistical decision we could in the moment with the information that we had out on hand. And so did they. And unfortunately for us, they just won out. But other than that, no, I'm pretty good on it. So that's the Jazz don't want to pick on anything. Always gonna be the second round is because superstars, but no one sees it coming. Yeah, who cares about next year's draft? 2025 is later. We need Bronny. Yeah. Having the Jazz pick win the lottery this year would be crazy bad, but it's highly unlikely to happen. Yeah, the odds are against it. Yeah, that's why I would I would be willing to live with it if it should happen, because I don't believe it should happen. Statistically, the numbers are not in the favor of that. If it did, it would be like, are you effing kidding? Are you effing kidding me? Like, that's how I would feel. So we get one of the Boozer twins. If we get one of the Boozer twins, I'd love that. How good would the fit be? I don't 100% know. I didn't work it out in my head, but I'll tell you right now, when you have players like that, you make it work. You find a way. That is the number one thing. Great coaches with great players find ways to make things work. End of story. End of story. Mm-mm. You said Bronny will be playing 4 years in college. He might have to do a return year. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think USC was a great fit for him and his play style, honestly, along with the players that were already on the roster. But he made a decision for himself, and so I think he might need an extra year. Mm-mm. Just because the odds are against it will happen. I don't think we've ever drafted the top 4. Wait, I actually think we drafted them once. I do believe there was one time as well. I'm not 100% sure though. Actually, wearing gloves to eat. Yeah, this way I don't have to wash my hands. Like, obviously this hand is just free, but anytime finger foods related, like I have these cupcakes here. I'll show you. Like yeah. But I don't want to have to like get the icing on my hand and like go wash. Be like, hold on a second, guys, let me go wash my hands, or like get cake on the computer. So I'm just like glove. That way, when I'm done, I just take it off. No harm, no foul. Mind you, I do this with almost everything, every finger food I eat, for real. Ennis Cantor was 3. Side note, I remember when Ennis Cantor was with the Trailblazers and he was fasting for Ramadan, and that man was putting in work, playing defense like I've never seen him play before. I almost bought a jersey. That's how serious it was. That's how impressed I was with him. Crazy stuff. Freshness, on the other hand, is going to be a problem. Birthday cake or cupcake? Just a random cake. I forgot why my family got it, actually, because I didn't actually buy it. They got it and left it to be had by me, as I always do. Mm-hmm. Why didn't the Jazz initially tank last year in the deepest draft? Well, they didn't realize how good they actually were. So when they actually started winning games, they were like, hold on, wait a second. Let's calm down. And then they tanked, but when they tanked, they were still not terrible. Because remember, that was when Chris Dunn got most of his minutes and proved that he was deserving of a contract. And then Walker Kessler actually started getting his starts at around that point as well, and proved, hey, I might be the second coming of Rudy Gobert plus offensive bag. Yeah. Utah needs to save Jeremy Grant. That's not a terrible take, Rashad. That's not a terrible take, actually. Just looked up. We only drafted 2 once and 3 2 times. So 3 top 4 picks in franchise history. Highest selection they ever came to in 1980 when they chose Darrell Griffith at number 2, selected 8 times in the top 10. Interesting. Not tanking for Wemby is crazy. The odds that the scriptwriters weren't going to let us get him. Let's call a spade a spade. The scriptwriters were not going to let us get Wemby. Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Plus, it's not like there was a significantly better point guard over Keontae George that you select, honestly. Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you, Rashad. This class wasn't super crazy, in all honesty. Like, Scoot was supposed to be that guy, and even Scoot struggled to make the transition, which was crazy to me, and still is, honestly. But, it gets better. Today just wasn't a good one. So we got Jordan Hawkins is interesting. I never really looked into that. Let me see something. Womp womp. The fact that they don't broadcast the ball picker thing proves it's rigged. It's definitely interesting. It's definitely something. I'm not going to say it's rigged, but it's definitely something. But looking ahead, Pelicans, we should win that game. Wizards, we should definitely win that game. Hornets, we should definitely win that game. Nets, we should win that game unless Cam Thomas somehow gives us 50. Knicks, that's going to be a tough one. That's the trial game, right? But originally, I had us pegged to go 5-1 over the 6-game road trip. But since we lost to the Rockets, I still think we beat the Pelicans. I still think we beat the Wizards. But worst case scenario, right? We lose to the Pelicans. We beat the Wizards. We beat the Hornets. We beat the Nets. We lose to the Knicks, which splits us 3-3. I don't love that, but when we lost to the Rockets, we put ourselves in that position because now the Pelicans think they can win. Despite us winning 2 out of the 3 head-to-head matchups. Ping pong balls, yeah. Hornets are going to be a tough game. Think so? Wemby just happened to go to his childhood favorite team. Yeah. Yeah. Just one of those things. Just one of those things. That said, anything else interesting, gentlemen? Anything else that piqued your interest today? Or wasn't absolutely abysmal, I guess? Welp. With that being said, the New Orleans Jazz. Oh, like his first round pick in 1979. Crazy stuff. What's the weed like in Utah? I don't even know whose question that should go to. Would you be okay if the Jazz traded for a young player that has potential? It depends on who. I don't want it to be too redundant. The Pelicans scare me too. Yeah, I'm mildly concerned about them. I'd be lying if I said that. Oh, we're just gonna roll over them like we did on our back-to-back against them. No, because they beat us that third time around. Now, granted, it wasn't a crazy win that they had over us, but it was a win nevertheless. Could the Jazz and the chip in the next 3 to 5 years? Could they win it? I'm not sure. Could they be contenders in 3 to 5 years? I definitely think so. Yo, Rashad said he's trying to make a trip. He said he is trying to make a trip and see the sights of Utah. That is exactly what he's trying to do. And I don't blame him. I understand. If we could get a good, amazing guard like Kuminga or something like that, that would be interesting, actually. Also, of course, Slumdog Millionaire answers. Can we get transferred in the year? I'm def taking that trip. Gotta see the bro one time. I'm weak. But yeah, appreciate y'all, boys, for sticking it out, fighting the good fight, watching the game despite it going down to the wire, not falling in our favor. With that being said, the usual. Like the video, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Bless you, thank you, welcome. Turn on your post notifications. Become a member if you haven't already, to get the videos faster than anybody else and help support the creation of more videos. My next video will actually be complimenting Keontae George, so hopefully he does right by me soon instead of putting on. If he puts on a performance like this again on Tuesday, I might look kind of clownish for dropping that one. And then after him is Walker Kessler. So in any event, things should go pretty smoothly. But appreciate y'all boys like usual. As always, just appreciate y'all coming and hanging out. With that being said, it's your boy Wraith Hoops, and as always, good morning, good evening, good night, no matter where you're on the globe watching. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.